Hello, Lucy girl. Papa is here with a story just for you. But of course, Conrad and Caleb can listen in. This is a story that features the wonderful wasp and only the wasp. And so I thought for sure you'd like to hear it. So here it is. It's A Voice in the Dark, starring the wasp. And there she is in her costume, but she's putting on a coat. Let's see what's going on. Fighting crime keeps the wasp on the move, but not nearly as much as when she's rushing to meet the man she loves, like now. And she says, "Those tales I told at the state orphanage took longer than I expected. Now I'm late for my dinner date with Hank. He must be having a fit. I won't waste time getting dolled up here. I'll just dash straight to the lab, and while handsome Henry complains about my lateness, I'll change into a dinner dress in my special dressing room." Look, and there's a photo of Giant Man that says, "With all my love, Hank." But as we shall see, the wonderful wasp is about to learn there's many a slip twixt the date and the trip. Okay, let's go. Let's see what happens. There she is walking down the street. She says, "I don't need this coat and hat to keep me warm. My insulated costume takes care of that. But these clothes will keep me from being recognized and slowed down by autograph hounds." Do you know what that is? Those are people who want her to sign her name so they can keep it as a memento. She thinks, imagine any gal celebrity deliberately trying to avoid her adoring public. Boy, the sacrifices I make for Hank Pym. But our fun-loving heroine's eye suddenly catches an unusual sight. She thinks that man opening the manhole. Strange, he's not dressed like a city worker. I wonder what he's up to. No good, I suspect. Then she thinks he's climbing down the manhole. Of course, he could be some kind of nut who figures traveling underground is a way to beat the heavy crosstown traffic. But look, he's carrying a suitcase and he's hooded. Oh well, thinks the wasp. He didn't break any law. If he wants to make like a mole, that's his business, not mine. And so she goes on her way while he goes his. But when the wasp turns the corner, she discovers something that is her business. The door of this jewelry store has been forced open, and the burglar alarm wires are cut. Now it all fits together. That joker who climbed down the manhole was carrying a valise. I'll bet it contained stolen jewelry. I'm already late for my date with Hank, and if I know him, he's probably waiting for me, about as calm as a raging tiger. But there's no time to call the police, and if I don't capture that thief myself, he'll escape. I'll just leave this cumbersome coat and hat in here until the job is done. And so she's already in her wasp costume. She says, pretty sneaky of that crook to try a getaway through the city's vast network of underground tunnels, but he didn't reckon with the wasp, dauntless, beautiful, and oh, but why go on? Oof, this hunk of iron is much too heavy. No mere female could lift it unless she were a female Hulk. Fortunately, there's another way for this delicate doll to get underground. Of course, I simply take one of Happy Hank's reducing pills, and I do mean reducing. So she shrinks down to wasp size, and she just flies through the hole in the manhole cover. There, I've sprouted my Tinkerbell wings. What more does any gal need for subterranean fun and games? Whew, the air sure is stuffy in this old tunnel, but with luck, I won't be down here for long. Ah, there's my boy, thinking he's in the clear, no doubt. Well, his bubble is about to burst. So there's the thief carrying his valise. First, I'll separate Bright Eyes from his ill-gotten gains. This pin should prove a most effective weapon. It may be too dark in the tunnel for him to see the wasp, but he's sure gonna feel her sting. But to our tiny heroine's surprise, I missed his hand. It must be because of the dense, choking air in the tunnel. It's thrown my sense of balance off, and so she hits the handle and snaps the pin. What will she do now? Odd, the stifling subterranean air doesn't seem to bother him, but is affecting me worse by the minute. I'm getting so dizzy. And then he says, I can't remember which tunnel it was, this one or that. So he's lost. I've got to work fast and capture him before I pass out. I've an idea. I'll untie his shoelaces and fashion them into a booby trap. Well, that sounds like a clever idea. There, I've unlaced both of them. Now I'll just knot them together, and when Mr. Jewel Thief starts walking again, he'll fall smack on his kisser. After that, he'll be easy to handle. But before the wasp can attach the laces, the towering fugitive steps forward, catching the insect-sized girl off balance. Oh! Nothing hurt except my pride. Well, I'm still not giving up, but I'd better act quickly before I succumb to this dense air. Even now I feel like I'm choking. Wait, he's walking through that door. He closed the door behind him, but that can't keep a wasp-sized sweetie out. And then he says to himself, I'll stash the jewels here till the heat is off. No one will ever think of looking for them in an abandoned subway control room. The robbery went off real smooth, and I'm in the clear now. In a few weeks, I'll return for my loot and live on Easy Street for years to come. The wasp is still flying around, and she's thinking, he's leaving. If I can reach the door first, I'll capture him. But I don't know if I can make it. The air is so thick. I'm getting dizzier and weaker all the time. But I must try. I must. Ah, I beat him to the door. Now all I have to do is lock him in from the outside and bring the police. But I'm fighting against time. I'm growing faint. If I don't get out of this tunnel soon, I'll pass out. Oh no, the stifling air, the lack of oxygen has made me too weak to even lock the door. I'm straining as hard as possible, but I can't turn the key. He's leaving the room. I tried to capture him and I failed. But wait, I've another idea. There's still a chance. I'll roll a small scrap of paper into a megaphone to amplify my voice, to make it loud enough for him to hear. And then, utilizing all her rapidly waning strength, the courageous gal crime fighter tries a desperate deception. Don't move, chum. This is Sue Storm, the Invisible Girl, speaking, telling you to give yourself up. Huh? What an idea. She can't do much as the wasp, but she's pretending to be Sue Storm, the Invisible Girl. The guy says, I don't see anyone, but that female voice, it can't just be coming out of empty air. It must belong to the Invisible Girl. There's no other explanation. Right, I've been following you ever since I saw you break into the jewelry shop. I've called the other members of the Fantastic Four. They're on their way here now to capture you. Oops. The Fantastic Four? The thing could pulverize me, and I sure wouldn't stand a better chance against the Torch or Mr. Fantastic. I'm not going to tangle with them. Anything's better than that. And so he turns himself in. He carries his valise to the nearest policeman and says, I committed a robbery tonight. Here's the loot. Book me. Lock me up. Just don't let any costume do-gooders with superpowers get their hands on me. And the wasp flies off. She thinks, phew, my little trick worked. That wraps it up. Now to buzz off for my date with Hank. Well, says Hank, if it isn't old Lightning herself. What happened? Why so late? Do you realize how long you've kept me waiting? Oh, sorry, handsome, says the wasp. It couldn't be helped. I passed a jewelry store that was robbed, and I chased the thief through an underground tunnel till I finally caught him. It won't work, Jan. I heard about that capture over the radio, and it was the invisible girl who pulled it off. No, it wasn't her. It was me pretending to be the invisible girl. Oh, what's the difference? Are you ready for dinner? I'm starving. Dinner? What do you mean? We didn't have a date for this evening. Why, Henry Pym, of course we had a date. It wasn't me you had a date with. It was really Mr. Fantastic, pretending to be me. What a mean tease. And then he walks off thinking, maybe next time she'll think twice before she hands me a phony excuse like that. And the wasp thinks, I always knew there'd be days like this. I wonder where a gal can sell a second-hand wasp costume real cheap. And so that's the end of our wasp tale. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. You've been asking for a story about the wasp, and here it is. And you know what? I have another story about the wasp. The next story is called The Magician and the Maiden. All right, so the wasp is going to fight a supervillain known as the Magician. But that'll be a story for another day. All right, Lucy, I hope you're enjoying these stories about the wasp. And Conrad and Caleb, I hope you're enjoying them too. All right, more stories to come. Love y'all. Bye-bye.